Hi everyone, my name is Erica with an A and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to have more of a serious note. I'm going to be talking about mental health and my journey throughout my life with mental health and kind of different things in my life that happened and how I dealt with them and how that eventually made me to where I am now and all my ups and downs throughout my journey. I put before this a trigger warning. There is some topics throughout this video that might affect people. I'm going to talk about suicide, suicidal thoughts, eating disorders, and all that kind of stuff. So if those are things that will affect you, please do not watch this video. It's gonna be a hard video for me to film, let alone if you're currently having issues with these things to watch. I don't know if I'll make it all through tonight. So if in the middle of this my outfit changes and stuff, that's why. But I'm gonna try to make it through and we'll see how it goes. So starting out, I have not had that bad of a life. Yes, there has been some serious things that have happened in my life, but this isn't me complaining about my life. I've had a good life. I just wanted to put that in there. I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm complaining about my life. I just want to cover my mental health journey, and so people might understand where I come from on different situations. So yeah, so let's get into it. From birth to 11, nothing major happened. I was a kid. I was enjoying my life. My mom and dad did get divorced, but he was still around. He was still in my life. He still came to events. We had an every other weekend with him at his place, and sometime longer than that during the summer. As we got more older and more activities that we were doing, that kind of dwindled, but we still saw him. He still came around. Him and my mom were not butting heads all the time. He was around. He was a big part of our life. He was kind of the glue that stuck us all together. Now saying that, when I was 11, I saw my dad as just my dad. I didn't know him as much as a person, so I didn't really see how much he was struggling with depression. So when I was 11, he ended up committing suicide. I remember going to the library in school that day and them calling me down to the office and me not really knowing what was going on. My mom picked us up and picked me up, and she wouldn't tell me why. She brought me to my brother's school. I was in elementary school. He was in middle school. And we went into the counselor's office, and I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. And she told us that my dad passed away and that he was gone. Yeah. It's still hard to this day. I remember just crying in the office, and I remember my brother and how he was dealing with it. I remember going home that night. One of my older sisters were sick, and she was already at home. And I remember being in the living room when my mom told her and just hearing her scream. And that was difficult. Sorry. I didn't expect to be crying so much already. Everybody was just hit like a bag of bricks. Nobody really understood why. Like I said, he was the glue that stuck my family together, and we all ended up dealing with it differently. Some of my siblings were more vocal about stuff and more outwardly showing that they were struggling. And I kind of internalized it. And I was the youngest of his kids. I have 2 younger sisters from my mom's husband at the time, or ex-husband. So I kind of was under the radar. Like, I didn't show that I was struggling. And so that was when I was 11. We all dealt with it differently. We all kind of pulled apart because he, like I said, he was the glue. And my struggle was kind of under the radar. I internalized everything. I didn't really talk about it. I put on a really good face. I used to say that I could be an Academy Award winning actor because I put on the face that I wasn't struggling, and I did a really good job at hiding it. And when I was 15, I got into a really bad car accident. Lots of things broken, lots of hospital visits. I was in the hospital for a while. The other people that were in the car with me were in there even longer. I think they were there for over a month. Like, it was not a very good car. Like, it was bad. And I was able to hold everything together until then. I was able to hold strong until my body wasn't strong anymore. I ended up having a breakdown after I was back home. And I remember writing a letter to my mom, bawling, but I couldn't find a pen or a pencil, so I grabbed an eyeliner and I wrote a 2-page paper telling my mom how hurt I was and how much struggling I was doing. And she brought that to my pediatrician, and they decided that I needed some help, like now. Around where I live, there's this place called Prairie St. John's, and they help people with that might be mentally needing help, like how I was. My mental health was not good. So they take people in like that need to be observed and make sure they're not going to hurt themselves. And they just take a lot of different people, like addicts and stuff as well. They're a really good place. So I went there. I was an inpatient for a month, and I was an outpatient for a month and 1 day. They did help a lot. And I kind of expressed that going through the passing of my dad, I never wanted to hurt myself, but I wanted something to happen to me. So when I realized that in my car accident that we were going to hit the tree, it wasn't a like, oh crap, like it wasn't anything negative. It was, thank you, finally something. And that's not good. Basically, I wanted something to happen to me to make there be a reason for why I was feeling the way I was. And that's not healthy. Now I've learned that is passive suicidal thoughts. So it's not suicidal thoughts where you're planning how to take your life. It's suicidal thoughts and you want something to happen to you. So I was in Prairie dealing with that, and I think I was doing pretty good afterwards after I dealt with everything. I learned coping mechanisms and stuff like that. So after that, I ended up getting a job, and I was still going to school, and I kept myself busy. I kept going on with my life, and then so that was about 15 when all that stuff happened. 15, 16. So I was good again until I was around 20, 21. I got into a relationship with somebody that used me. He never really abused me or anything, but it was more of a relationship for him to use me. And I didn't see that. He did end up cheating on me, and it really messed with my head. Feeling like somebody loved you and not having that reciprocated. So when that one ended, I got into a relationship really fast. We got married. I had my son. And that was a very unhealthy relationship. To this day, I'm still dealing with those issues. I'm always afraid I'm not good enough. It's really hard for me to know when my partner is genuine, because those two relationships I had that were what I thought really good were not, and that really messes with your head. So I was good, generally speaking, until currently, but I kept myself busy. I was constantly going. I didn't stop to actually leave myself alone with my thoughts. And then when I finished college and was in a steady 9-to-5 job, things started creeping back in. So that's leading me up to current. So the whole reason why I started this channel is last year I was not in a good space because I was starting to have those wanting things to happen again. Or I would go off on little thoughts, and they were so real that I would be bawling in my car thinking that they happened. Like, it was during winter, and somebody almost hit me. We didn't hit, but we almost hit. And my mind just went off on, what if my son passed away? Or what if my boyfriend passed away? Or things like that. And it would be so real to me because I would play it out in my head, and it would just go on and on about how I would react. Like, when you crap, when you're so afraid to lose someone, and then that's all your mind can do. It's all it does is make you feel like you're losing them over and over and over again. And sorry. When your mind just keeps playing those tricks on you and you're sad and you don't have a reason to be sad, so your mind is going crazy, making ridiculous things so real in your head, and like multiple times a week I would sit there crying because my mind is going through those processes of losing people that I love. I knew I needed help, and so I reached out for help, and I have come a long way in the year that I've been getting help. I've realized a lot of things, and loss is my biggest thing. I'm afraid to lose people in my life because after the loss of my dad, I feel like I lost my whole family because we were all so close. And then when we lost my dad, we all started pulling away from each other. And there was times where I felt like I wasn't even part of my family, that I was just in the background. And I know a lot of that has to do with how I handle it. I internalized it, so I pulled away from everybody. But I also feel like they should have seen that. But if I put up front, making it seem like I was fine, with them dealing with their own stuff, how should they have known? So I don't blame anybody in my family for how everything was handled, but I'm still working on my self-worth and trying to know that I am worth it, that I am loved, that I have a reason to be here, and that it's okay to be happy. Yeah, I was not expecting to cry so much. I was doing this over in my head so much, and I wasn't crying then. But it's been a hard year dealing with a lot of the stuff that I've been through. This year has been a lot better. I feel like my relationships are being healed with my family, with my siblings the most. I feel like we haven't had the greatest sibling relationship, but I love them, they love me. I just need to reach out more. I think that was a big thing, is I just kept pulling away. And I think I just need to reach out more. Yeah. Last year, when I let my thoughts come back into my head and slowing down to the point where I allowed myself to process my feelings and things that I was going through, my life was really good. I had a boyfriend, or I have a boyfriend that really cares for me. I have my son who's been doing really good. He's had some up and downs with ADHD, but we're finally on a good path for him. I was done with school. I was at a good position in my job. I really love my job. I do still work at Dairy Queen, but it was way less than I used to. So I loved my life, and I finally let myself slow down And that's when the negative thoughts started coming back. So I had these things I was dealing with, but from an outsider looking in, you would think I would be okay. You would think my life was perfect. And you never know what somebody is struggling with. It's really important to know that even if people don't see your struggle, it's still a valid struggle. You still can be struggling even when your life seems perfect. Because life is life. Everybody has ups and downs, and it's okay when the downs are really bad to ask for help. I can't express that enough. Like, there's been a lot of people in my life that I have lost because they didn't know how to ask for help. I mean, my dad alone is too many people. And don't be ashamed to ask for help. With everything that has happened in my life, losing my dad, feeling like my family has pulled away and myself pulling away, the bad relationships I was in, it's made it really hard for me to allow people into my life. I have a really hard time making friends. Usually what I do is the person I'm with, I get really attached to them, and then I get attached to their friends, and then when I break up with the boyfriend, I lose my whole support system. So, I mean, I do it to myself. I find people that I like and that I would like to make friends with, but I have a really hard time taking it past that. Like, coworkers or people at the gym, I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I always feel like I'm doing something wrong, or that they're just being nice, or it's hard to explain. Like, I just don't feel good enough. Like, I feel like that people look down on me. And that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, was to build my confidence back up, to get out what I wanted to get out. And if people decided to watch, they decided to watch. So far, my confidence has risen so much with starting this channel. I'm more willing to just start a conversation with somebody, especially about my channel. So I've made some good strides over this last year. So, I mean, mental health has a lot to do with your entire life. It is not just the dark thoughts or wanting to hurt yourself or preventing yourself from eating because that's the only thing that you have control over, or binging when you lose control. That's something that I do. I used to be so outgoing, but as life happened, I wasn't as outgoing. I would go into social situations and just back off into the back of the crowd. I wouldn't put myself out there. And that didn't help with my mental health. It made me feel like I didn't deserve to be heard. And that's one of the things that I have to work on really hard this year, especially with this channel, because all of my goals, a lot of it is putting myself out there. It's trying to build my confidence up to do all this stuff. So this video has been very emotional for me. Even while I was editing, before I decided to add this stuff, I was crying. I just really want people to understand that mental health affects your entire world. You're not alone, and your life can be so much better if you just ask for help. And if you don't think you can get the help or can't afford the help, because I know that's a big thing, a notebook, just talking to somebody. I mean, I'll listen. If no one else is there, I'll listen. I don't want to say this is something that I want to be at the forefront of, but it is very important. I don't want to see anybody hurting. And yeah, I don't know when I'm going to put this video up, but I hope when I do, it is accepted and people understand what I'm trying to get across. It is a big issue that people don't talk about, and they need to. It shouldn't be taboo to ask for help. I know I would be in a completely different mindset right now if I wouldn't have asked for help. So, yeah. So, this was a very general overview of everything that I've been through. I could have went deeper and stuff, but I don't think I could have handled it. Who knows, someday I might take one particular thing that happened in my life and dive in a little deeper. I just want everyone to know that it's okay to ask for help. It doesn't have to be professional help. It's okay to ask somebody you trust just to listen. For me, when I'm having a little bit of an episode where I just need to get stuff off my chest, finding that person that'll listen, and just blurt it out and talk to them helps a lot. But if you are thinking about suicide or have those passive suicidal thoughts like I do, because I never realized they were suicidal thoughts or like classified as that. I just wanted something to happen to me. Reach out for help. Tell somebody, because you never know if you're the glue that holds somebody's life together. This was a really hard video to film. If you made it all the way through, thank you. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.